let's talk about software. This is a bit of a back to the future moment because I had done a few other videos through the stages, and when I got back to the edit suite, the video files were corrupt, so the GoPro Hero 3 threw the towel in, and so I've had to redo them. But that's a bit of a plus because I went through the process and found out that following steps in the manual, they've left some out. So I've rearranged the approach, and so I shall continue that on with the new approach. So some sections I might mention something twice in previous videos, but that's just to tie it all in. So software, you've decided to purchase the printer, you've decided to go and buy the extras, so you've ordered them on eBay when you've ordered the printer, you've paid for it, Syntron has sent you a message, thanks for buying it. You then ask them, can I have the link to the software? And they'll send you an eBay link message, and in there it will be a link to their drop boxes. So in their drop boxes there'll be Dropbox locations for their manual. Now their manual is 130 pages taken from the 230 pages from the Blomker, Blomker Industries Build Manual, and there'll be links to these at the end of the video with the QR, so you just get your camera, take the photo. But there's relevant pages. It's a different style, as in it's got linear ways and it's different, it's orange and it's black, and it's so they've only just pinched what pages they feel are relevant, and some of them aren't that relevant, and some have been left out, like the extruder, setting up the extruder, how to work out that it's working correctly. I'd like to show you now is the software, the download, and what you need to do. So you've got your link, you go up and you go to the Dropbox, and there'll be a list of different software. So there's a Marlin Delta software, but you need it for your particular LCD. Now, as you know, mine's a more rectangular one, not the long one, and mine is the LCD 12864, and it's got a file in the list as Marlin Delta working for LCD blah blah blah, and I think there's one there 1024 what the other one is. They then have another section, and it's for the print run, which is Pronterface. That's what it comes up on your Windows as, and that's Pronter, like printer with an O, Pronterface software. Then there's also a link to Slicer, that is spelled slick, the letter 3, the number 3 and R, slick 3R, which is pronounced slicer. You know, that's the trend these days. Now you need to download those for your computer type. I've got a 64-bit machine, so I download the 64-bit version. I've got a Windows one, there's Mac one, and there's 32-bit one. So you just need to make sure you've got the right one of those. They're all free software, so once you download them, you can go and update them. And I'll just show you the difference between later versions of, say, Pronterface. That's the version that comes with the download from Syntron. And as you can see, there's no percentage bar for printer down there. I downloaded the later version, which has got print speed, so there's a bit more colour, bit different, not a great deal. It's got the XY centre part, and so you can install one, then you can install the other later. You need to create a shortcut to the exe file, because they don't add a exe file to the startup. So you need to do that, and then you can have it on your screen. Now I'll just show you the two manuals. This is the one from Blomker Industries, blomker.com, and that's the Syntron Tech. They've made theirs password protected. You can't copy and paste, you can't separate the pages. So they've taken all those pages they want and they've made it all secure so you can't use theirs. So guide that, and if you do thumbnails, you'll see that there's a great long list of all the different ones, and if you just drag down, you'll see which ones are relevant, which ones aren't. There's a couple taken from the assembly. The main ones we'll be using are the ones where they have the settings for the config file. And the reason for that is, and this is the new approach, we'll be setting up a file where we just copy and paste the actual code from what they tell you to adjust. So we'll use that code to do a search and all that. On one manual it's page 187, on the other manual, the Syntron one, it's page 94. So what we'll do is that I will refer to the page number, and they've got a little F number and a sort of their own little numbering on each page. So I'll refer to that when I'm telling you what to do. But for example, if we go down to where we're under the checking out, there might be a define statement, which is when you come to set it up, which we'll talk to you about later. There's some code, and then you need to put your own numbers in your calibration to replace this. Also, the config files are full of garbage. In other words, it's not related to our printer, so the numbers are all out, and it tells you to do this and to do that and then go back and change it. So the new approach is that we'll do some rough measurements first, alter the config before we actually power all up, and then we're in the ballpark to start with. Whereas here you're not even in the same city or the same state as where the ballpark is. So that's the new approach. We will do some rough measurements first, get that done, then we'll come back to the power up. So to do that, you go to do you highlight it in your PDF, you go to do an edit copy, you can't do it. So we then just go to the page on the other manual. So we can just do a drag, highlight it, Control C, and it's done. And then we open up our file, which I'll be talking about soon, and paste it. Then in the config side, we'll do a search for that, and then we can go through all the code and we'll find it. So that's time saving, plus the file that we will generate will save, and that's our settings. That's the settings for our machine. So that will just sit there, and then later you might want to change something, or what was that, what was this, and that's your permanent record. Just thought I'd show you those two different PDFs. So you've downloaded that, you've seen the different versions, but just do the first versions that come with it first. So you get the understanding. That's what I'll be referring to, is the first version of Pronterface and that. So we've done that. But then there's some other software for us. You need to, and I mentioned this previously, you need to download and install Audrina 1.0.5 R2. That works with my particular machine, and the coding of the Marlin Delta bot and config and all that for my system. So that's what I found, and that works, so you can do that. But then there's a couple other software, free, all this software is free, is install what they call Notepad++. So that's Notepad with the symbol ++. And that's a programming notepad. So it's like Notepad, but it doesn't leave like excess code when you're editing software code, like carriage returns, bolding, this sort of thing. So it's a safe and clean way to edit the config style like that. But also a good thing about it is that it also shows you, if you're writing in BASIC, it has the same color coding as BASIC. If you're writing in C++, it has the same coding as all that. So you can look for items where the letters or coding or standard words, that sort of thing. So it's quite useful. So download and install Notepad++. Then the other one, and the final one, is Netfab. Netfabb. There's a free version of that, a semi-restricted sort of version, does some things. If you work on STL files, if you make your own or you download them and you go to print and it's got errors in it, you can actually work on the STL file with Netfab. So it's good that way. Download the software from the links that Syntron sent you. Download Audrina 1.0.5 R2. You can download the later versions of Print, Run, Pronterface and Slicer, and you can also do the Notepad++ and Netfab. Download all those and install them, and then we'll continue on with the next bit.